Hi, I'm Miss Mallory again for a drama class from the Quinen Street Project, and today we are going to talk about world theater and mask and tech and design. But before we go into that, let's go ahead and review what we learned last time, which is movement and blocking. So movement, we talked about different walks, walking heavy, walking light, indirect, direct. Is that similar to how you walk? Pay attention to the different characters that you see in the stories that you're watching. How are they walking? Notice how a person moves can, define their character. We also talked about blocking, stage left, stage right, downstage, upstage, center stage, things, directions that you get when you're in a play as far as where to sit, stand, where to deliver your lines and things like that. So that's what we did last time. Let's go ahead and check in. So how are you feeling today? Tell me one word that describes how you're feeling today and give me a gesture that describes it. All right. Before we move on, let's warm up. First off, I want you to reach above your heads. Act like there's candy in the ceiling. So reach your hands up above your head. You can even act like you're climbing a rope. Now, wiggle your fingers. Drop your fingers. Drop your wrists. Drop your elbows. And then drop your shoulders. Now, take a crayon. This is a crayon in my head. Put it on top of your head like this and draw some circles with your head with that crayon onto the ceiling. Draw 4 circles. Now do it the other way 4 times. Very slowly. Now, I want you to take that crayon, take it off of your head, break it in half, and stick each half on your shoulders. Here and one here. Now, draw circles on both sides of the room with the crayons on your shoulders. Let's do 4 backwards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now 4 forwards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just heard some bones cracking. Okay, now take these crayons, put them back together. Just put it away for now. Set it to the side. Now, I want you to give me a superhero chest. So what does a superhero chest look like? For me, a superhero chest is nice and big and proud and powerful. So let's do superhero chest. Now let's do a villain chest. Villain kind of just gets small and tiny and evil, right? Now let's go back to superhero chest. Big and proud and out, and then villain chest. And small. Shrink. Now, superhero chest again. Now, villain chest. Superhero chest. Now, villain chest. Oh, okay. Good job. Now, I want you to create a ball of energy in between your hands like this. So, clap your hands, knees your hands. Now, clap them together and create a warm ball of energy until it becomes nice and warm. Okay. Now wake up your body with this ball of energy. Start off with your head, back of your head, your face, your arms, shoulders. Let's go to your chest. Go like this. Ah. Now go to your belly and your back and your hips and your thighs. Now your legs and your calves. Even to your feet. Okay, now I want you to warm up your face. So make your face nice and big like this. Eyes big, mouth big. Now small. Big. Now small. 2 more times. Big. Now small. Big and small. Okay. Now we need to warm up our voices and our mouth. So first you're going to blow your lips out like a horse, but don't make any sound and don't make any vibrations with your mouth. You just go like this. Now you can play with sound and vibrating your lips. Play with some sound. Okay, now let's go ahead and warm up our voices and this tool here, our face, our body, our mouths. We're going to do this by going through the alphabet. So with every letter that you say, don't just say A. I want you to use your entire face to do the alphabet. So if I say A, it's A. So make sure to use your cheeks and your lips and your nose and your eyes to do the alphabet. We're going to start at the beginning. Ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So hopefully your cheeks are all warmed up and loosened now. Now, let's get into some tongue twisters. I have a couple for you. If you know them on your own, you can do your own, but I'll start off with a couple. Unique, New York. You know, you need, unique, New York. Now say it again with me. Unique, New York. You know, you need, unique, New York. I say it a little bit faster. Unique, New York. You know, you need, unique, New York. Unique, New York. Unique, New York. You know, you need, unique, New York. You know, you need, unique, New York. Unique, New York. Unique, New York. You know, you need, unique, New York. Now let's try this next one. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. You might know this one already. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? Let's do it a little bit faster. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? A little bit faster. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. So Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? And one more. The big black bug bleeds blue-black blood, but the little black bug bleeds blue. The big black bug bleeds blue-black blood, but the little black bug bleeds blue. The big black bug bleeds blue-black blood, but the little black bug bleeds blue. A little bit faster. The big black bug bleeds blue-black blood, but the little black bug bleeds blue. Oh my gosh. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, so we are going to start off with World Theater and Mask. First, I want you to take out a pencil with crayons and a piece of paper, or multiple pieces of paper, whichever you decide. Okay. Now, I want to go through different types of masks with you, and I'll show them here on the screen. But first, masks are usually used to display or to like capture an archetype, and an archetype is a recurring like characteristic or an example of a person. So an archetype of someone in high school might be the nerd, or the cheerleader, or the jock, or maybe the class clown, or into what other the principal. The types of people that you typically see in different situations. So yeah, that is an archetype. Or for example, if you're watching a rom-com, a romantic comedy, you usually have like the woman who is too busy working to find love, or you have the jerk boyfriend that she's usually with, doesn't treat her well, but she loves him so much. Another archetype in one of those movies is like the wise older lady, like mentor that she has. Maybe it's a nail salon owner, or like a chef at her favorite restaurant. Those are all archetypes, like different types of people that you see in different like recurring characters that you see in different stories. It's not just in one story, it's in like other stories. And these masks, these archetypes, are used to tell stories across traditions. So let's go ahead and start with Commedia. Commedia dell'arte is a physical comedy out of Italy, and it uses these masks that you see here. Some of these the Commedia dell'arte masks, they relate to different characters. So Commedia, they usually tell stories through age and status, and the masks usually only cover half of the face. They only usually cover half of the face. So some of the different masks that you'll see in Commedia, these different characters, one is named Zanni, Zanni, and he's like a wacky kind of zany character. You have Pantalone, and he usually depicts an old merchant. He's usually wealthy and esteemed, very like highly regarded, and he has like a hooked nose. Then you have Il Dottore, which is the doctor, usually wearing like a doctor's coat, very smart. You have Arlecchino, which is the comic relief. So he's like the court jester that I was just, or the class clown that I was just telling you about. Then we have the No masks out of Japan. And they usually depict demons and humans, and they cover the entire face. Some of the characters out of No, the No tradition is Okina, which is an old man. You have Jo, which usually depicts elders and spirits. Onamen, which is women. And then you have the Kishin, which is demons, goblins. And then you have the Onryo, which is usually ghosts. And usually these ghosts have these regrets, and so they're back haunting, trying to make up for the regrets that they used to have when they were alive. And then you also have South African masks, and they sometimes represent spirits, ancestors, and deities, and they're used in rituals. So those are different types of masks that you see. Many theater traditions are based in religion or colonization. So you'll see these masks used to tell these different stories. So now we are going to design our own mask based off of Drum Dream Girl. So I realized that none of the characters in the story wear masks that we know of, but if you could create a mask for the Drum Dream Girl, or even maybe the drum teacher, feel free to do so. Here are a couple of templates that we have for the mask. So you can start off here. This is a full face mask. Kind of scary, right? And then we have, like in chlamydia, the half face mask. And the half face, it kind of allows the actor to be very expressive with their mouths, so it's only covering this much. So you have to be really expressive and really just use your mouth as part of the mask. It has to like complete what's going on at the top half, if you know what I mean. Okay, so take this time, go ahead and pause this video and work on your mask for Drum Dream Girl. So today we are going to talk about tech and design, but before we do that, this is a really good opportunity to go and grab a piece of paper or two and a pencil, crayons, anything that you might have to draw with. And I'll tell you what we're going to draw in just a moment. Go ahead and pause this if you need to. Okay, awesome. So I want to talk about what is involved in tech design and costume design. So a set designer is the person who designs and builds what's on stage. So the furniture, any backdrop, anything that might have to do with setting the scene. Remember we were talking about the 5 W's. So who, what, when, where, why. Who, what, when, where, why. You can do so much with the design of the stage. So you can set where it's at and possibly when. Because if you think about, say for example, the set design for a small apartment in Manhattan or in Brooklyn, in New York, is going to look a lot different than the set design for a I was gonna say a sunny apartment in California, but everything's kind of getting smaller nowadays anyway. So it's gonna look a lot different than, say, set design for something that is set in Russia or set in Europe. Things look so completely different. For example, when I studied abroad in Paris when I was 20, and the thing that like confused me so much was that the shower door is about this big. I'm not kidding you. The shower door is this big, and I was so confused, and everyone else in my program was like really confused. Why is the shower door this big? So if someone was setting or designing a set for an apartment in Paris, likely the door for the shower is going to be this big. I don't get it. I still don't get it, and I never looked it up. Probably should. But here we have actual shower doors, right? They're either glass or they're curtains. So that's how things could be different, and how you can set the stage to determine where the story is set. Also when, right? So if it is set in the 1940s, then the windows that you see for, a house is going to look a lot different. Now we have these nice, white frame double pane windows in some places. And before, they're probably, the frame is probably going to be wood. The glass is probably a little bit thinner, or at least just looks a little bit different. So the set designer can really tell a story with what it looks like. The wallpaper, what the doors look like, pretty much everything, and the furniture, right? Couches that were built in the 70s, they're probably going to be like orange or brown or white, and very like square, maybe kind of fuzzy. Now, modern couches, they're, white. They are a little bit more like minimalist, so they're a little bit more simple. They're not as like flashy. A chaise or like a velvet couch might belong in, in France or something like that, or someone who has like very expensive taste. So set designer, really does tell a story. We also have costume. So the costume designer decides what the actors will wear, or sometimes the director will decide that too. And the costume designer will make drawings of what they will eventually sew or purchase. Sometimes they borrow these clothes to make the actors look like their characters. So I've been in plays before where I have had to actually bring in my own clothes to act in, but sometimes theaters, what they'll do is they will have a whole room set aside for costumes, and everything that you can think of: hats and wigs and shoes, canes, belts, dresses, robes, pants, just everything, because what a character wears definitely determines what that character is like. My character as a human being, I wear a lot of athletic wear, or sometimes I kind of dress like a tomboy, so I like different cuts. But then when I like to go out, I get really like dressed up. I like flowy skirts, and so that would be me, but I dress completely different from even some of my friends. So if my friends had a costume designer, they would probably wear a lot of heels and leggings and big earrings. So every character has, they dress differently, they act differently, and that can also come out in the way that they dress. If someone is a fitness instructor in a play, then they're probably going to wear athletic wear like all the time: tennis shoes, leggings, windbreakers, things like that. If someone is a doctor, playing a doctor, they're probably on stage at least going to have a white doctor's coat on, at least for some of the play, so that you can see that person is a doctor, or they'll have glasses or like a stethoscope around their neck. So costume also tells the story, very important part. And sometimes, most of the time, we also have other people who are in charge of telling a story with what you see, the design. So we have the people who are in charge of lighting, the lighting designers. A red light on stage tells a very different story than a blue light on stage. A red light is like scandalous and kind of dangerous, and then a blue light can mean sadness or depression, or maybe it's evening time. So the lighting makes a big difference. Sometimes you'll have a spotlight on someone who's talking, and sometimes it means that they're by themselves or they're doing a monologue, so they have this long speech and you're supposed to be paying attention to them. So the lighting makes a big difference. We also have sound. So the sound of rain that comes in, that'll tell the audience that it's raining, and that could be really important to the story. We also have props. The people who are in charge of props, they take care of what else is on stage: a tea kettle, a cane, the things that you might use, a computer, a cup for drinking. Those are called props. And then finally we have a stage manager. I've been a stage manager before too, actually. I think I was 15 when I did my first stage management. And you wear radio, and you make sure that the actors are where they need to be. You're watching the script and you're making sure that the actors are ready to go on, that they go to their right places on stage, that the lights, that the sounds are all working at the right time. So stage management oversees kind of all of the operations for the play. So that is sort of a short version of what stage design and tech looks like. And usually if we were in class, we would be going over this really fun activity, and I'm going to explain it to you just in case you want to practice at home with the people that you live with. So you would make the room as dark as possible. Then you would set up a stage area, an audience, and a booth. So that's usually where the lights and the sound people sit. The booth should have 3 chairs and should be able to see the stage perfectly. So if you have ever gone to see a play or a music show, you have seen the music booth, the sound and the light booth. They have the best seat in the house. So they need to be able to see the stage perfectly. Then we would get a flashlight and a music player ready. I would get 3 volunteers, so 3 of you and your classmates, and then you would sit in the chairs in the booth and you would be responsible for starting to play the music or the sound and the putting on the lights when queued up or asked to go up. So one would be a spotlight operator, one would be the soundboard, and then one would be the stage manager. The spotlight operator gets to hold the flashlight. The soundboard operator gets the music player. One volunteer would be the actor on stage. The volunteer would stand in the stage area. The stage manager, the first thing that they have to do is make sure the light and sound operators are ready. So they do this by saying, "Stand by, lights and sound." Then the light and sound people then have to respond with standing, like they're standing by. This lets the stage manager know that everyone is ready. Then the actor says, "To be or not to be," which is the cue line for the spotlight. So then the stage manager would say, "Lights go." And then whoever's in charge of the lights would have the spotlight turn on and show us the actor on stage that he's highlighted, and then the audience can see him, them, him, her, them. Once the spotlight is on, the actor will say, "That is the question." This is the cue for the stage manager to say, "Sound, go," and then the sound would start. So that's what we would be doing if we were in class, but because we are not, what we're going to do is we are going to draw what we had just talked about. So draw your own set design, or you could draw your own costume design, and this is what it might look like if you were a set designer or a costume designer. So go ahead and draw your own set design for Drum Dream Girl, or you can draw your own costume design for Drum Dream Girl. Okay, good job on that. So our next video is going to be our last one. We are going to go over constructive feedback, rehearsal, and performance. So thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this today and to go over our lesson. On the count of 3, let's say drama class. 1, 2, 3, drama class.